Welcome back. Now I'll be delving into the issue of the NANS election or multiple elections that led to the emergence of three factional presidents. Today I'll be speaking to a representative from one of those groups to really break down what happened during the convention or the conventions that are held and what is the way forward for the association and Nigerian students. I've been joined now by with Comrade Kolawole Mayowa, Assistant Secretary General NANS from one of these groups. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
It's good to have you.
Nice play.
All right. It's good to always break things down so that the average Nigerian out there, in this case, the average Nigerian student, knows what's going on. So let's start from the genesis. Normally, we know there are usually some hiccups here and there when a new president is to emerge from NANS. But tell us the beginning of this story in this particular dispensation. What happened? Why are there three separate persons claiming to be president? And who is the who followed the valid and laid down processes to become president?
Oh, thank you very much. My name is Comrade Kolawole Mayowa, the Assistant Secretary General under the leadership of Comrade Chibuzo Obi, aka Pedro, the incumbent NANS president. According to your question, you said who is the legitimate president by the process of the election. I would like to tell you categorically that Comrade Chibuzo Obi, aka Pedro, remains the legitimate president of National Association of Nigerian Students by the due process, because the constitution have it that before we can have our election, the ASG happens to be the chief accreditation officer who is going to accredit the senators that are coming for the election. And he was the one that accredited the numbers of senators that voted Comrade Chibuzo Obi in as the incumbent NANS president.
Where was this? What was the venue? What was the time? When did this happen?
It happened late in the evening at Agora Hotel.
Okay, so this is not the convention or the election that held at close to ICC. Is it the same one?
Yes, at Agora, at the old parade ground, there was distraction.
Okay.
If you could see it from the news that went viral, there was sporadic gunshot in the air, which we see as an intimidation to the Nigerian students, which led them to Agora Hotel to elect their own president in.
Well, it's believed that the president at the time, the former president, Usman Barambo, also released some sort of circular speaking that he had, I believe, suspended the ASG. What about that? Does that mean the ASG at the time acted without powers?
Actually, the ASG has been acting before the circular.
Okay.
Before it was just of a sudden we saw the circular.
So was it still the valid ASG at the time he accredited the senators you are talking about?
He is the chief accreditation officer.
But if he has been suspended, can he still accreditate, so to speak?
I thought we had the memo very late.
Okay.
We had the memo very late.
Okay, so just tell us now how or what happened that led to you've spoken about Pedro now. Yeah. The other two presidents, where did they come from? What happened? Can we get to know that? Because there's a lot of story about violence, about students being taken to the hospital, even being attacked in the hospital. All of these stories, Nigerians don't really know what happened and what's going on. So can you give us information as to what happened? Why are there two other presidents?
Yeah, or what actually happened was that the election should have been held in the space of 48 hours.
All right.
Yeah, before the notification of the ASG, but due to the intimidation and the threatening by the security agencies, I thought
what security agencies?
The DSS.
Oh.
Yeah,
what's the involvement in all of this?
The DSS serve as the security agencies that guides the electioneering processes.
What I mean is, were they taking sides? Who were they intimidating exactly?
Yeah, according to the ASG, he was intimidated.
Okay.
He was intimidated, and he couldn't accredit the senators, the eligible senators, for the election at the appropriate time.
But who are the allegations against? Because if such things happen, the belief is that opponents or somebody somewhere is pulling the strings. Did it just happen out of nowhere? Why was there intimidation?
If you could see, according to the videos going viral, there is political interest. There is political interest which led to the participation of some ministers in the election.
Okay. All right. So let's break it down now. Yeah. You said there was a feeling of intimidation, and the ASG moved to Agora hotels with some accredited senators who had the election, and then Pedro emerged. In that election, were there other candidates there?
No, there wasn't other candidates there. I am a contestant. Okay. I also contested for the position of Assistant Secretary General. Okay. Are you getting it? Before the time after the memo. After the memo, I just received a call from different people that should start coming to what was it called, the Old Parade Ground. Old Parade Ground, that we couldn't hold election during the daylight. You were calling me in the midnight to come to the Old Parade Ground from an election by a set of people that we know that they are partisan already. So I told them I couldn't come to Old Parade Ground. I lodged in Agora Hotel, and that is where my life is saved. I was there when the ASG and other members started their own accreditation and deliver Comr Chibuzo Obi as our home president.
All right. So does it mean during that year on election, it was just unopposed, the people that were there? Did you have anybody you were contesting against side by side, or it was just like a consensus? No,
there wasn't opponents.
Okay. So I think we have that story clear now. Yeah. Do you have any idea how the other two presidents emerged?
They held the election. I could say that every one of them are diving under their own influence. The first party dives under his own influence. The second party dives under his own influence, while the third party dives under his own influence.
So what is violence? What did it happen? Did you witness any of this? I'd like to get your thoughts. What do you think about the whole issue? I don't think there are very few NANS elections or conventions where we don't hear stories like this. Even the outgoing president during his election, we heard similar reports. The one before that, same thing. So why is there always this what would I call it now? Iota of violence always sprinkled with these issues?
Violence. The violence is common in Nigerian student election.
Why?
But it has never, particularly I've never witnessed this kind of violence before. I've never in NANS election. I've never. Even the rate of the sporadic gunshots that we had in this election, I've never witnessed it before. Which even serve as the fear that makes me not to even go to that Old Parade Ground for their own election. I felt in my hotel I'm safe. That was the reason why I was there. While Comr Chibuzo Obi was declared as the president. And I'm so pleased to serve as his ASG.
So what do you think can be done, going into the future? We know that a number of persons, elected officials now, in the National Assembly, in the executive, one way or another, some have, your association has representatives there, people who used to be either in the SUG or in the NANS body, and so on and so forth. So basically, it is saying that people in NANS now, such as yourselves, are basically the leaders who are going to be seen perhaps in the nearest future in the National Assembly, and so on and so forth. And if this issue of violence is already prevalent here, what can we really expect? How do we begin to solve these issues?
There are different ways our government can come in and intervene in this kind of issues. They can come in by implementing some policies. Let me say security policy that can safeguard the electioneering processes. Because in a situation whereby we Nigerian students are in the election ground and we are even scared, contestants are even scared to even go to the election ground due to one reason or the other. So if the electioneering processes is free and fair, I think we'll be very proud to have our legitimate president by due process. But if there is chaos, if there is pandemonium at the field of election, we contestants will be even scared to even go out to seek for vote from our supporters.
Right, it's an interesting one there. There are also rumors that the process or the whole student body has been taken over by some persons who are not even quote unquote youths anymore. I know you don't necessarily have to be a youth to be a student, but it is sort of implied. And what we keep hearing is that some older persons who have more economic power and so on are jacking the process. How's that turning out now? Is this something that is being reversed or is still ongoing?
It is still ongoing. In a situation whereby you even hear from some people saying after God in our government, it is not about the government of Nigeria. It is about the Nigerian student. It is about the interest of the Nigerian student. How can we protect the interest of the Nigerian student? How can we agitate for the interest of the Nigerian student? How can we fight for the interest of the Nigerian student from the shackles and manacles of oppressors? So that should be the objective, not by imposing someone on Nigerian students, just for them to dive into your own tones. No.
Yeah, fair enough. So when it comes to the issue of legitimacy, the other factions will also give their own reason. You are saying the ASU was the person who is authorized to accredit voters or senators, as you said. The other factions can say, well, the ASU was already removed, so you didn't have that authority, and so on and so forth.
Sorry, even if the ASU was removed, who conducted their election? We see our sitting executives. After the constitutional order, they have to sit to amend the ways and forge ahead. Who gave the directive? How do we have the electioneering? How do they have their own electioneering process? Where is the memo that stated that we are having election at the same old paragraph as at the time the election was conducted?
Oh, well, so the question is moving forward. There are 3 presidents on ground. Something has to be done. Are there any talks, any sort of negotiations, anything going on? Because at the end of the day, there is also, we know of the issues of school fees hike, student loans is coming up. That's a whole process that students don't really know how that is going to go. We have ASU strikes, the different issues are on ground. So students need to have one voice. So when we have these, I believe one of the factional presidents referred to it as distractions, we don't really get to hear what students want to say. So my question to you now is, what would you say is the way forward? How can we end up eventually with one president speaking with one mind for all Nigerian students?
I would say the DSS oversees all the electioneering processes, and I see them as the law enforcement agencies that guided the electioneering processes. So I felt they should stand for the right things and do the right thing at the right time, if they don't want it to degenerate to something else.
All right, fair enough. Just to get your own thoughts, your president, what's on the front burner for him? What's he trying to advocate for, get for Nigerian students? Assuming he's able to cement his tenure and become the one and only president of NANS.
Yeah, our Comr Chibuzo Obi, I think one of his core values is to serve God through fighting inhumanity to man. And he's so geared in serving the interest of the Nigerian student. He is competent, he is capable of fighting for the interest of the Nigerian student.
All right, fair enough. We'll be watching and monitoring and seeing how it turns out, hopefully in the best interest of Nigerian students. And also we hope that the issue of violence and so on will become a thing of the past. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that's all we take for this segment of the program. We'll go on a short break and bring you more reports. When we return, we'll be delving into another matter on the state of the nation, including our blasphemy laws and also the issue of the Nigerian budget and the release of details for the 2024 fiscal year. Stay with us, we'll be right back.